Come on in, honey. The lantern's lit, the veil's a little thin, and the wind's been dying to carry a few secrets your way. Welcome to Raven's Ramblings, where the shadows walk beside us and the past never stays buried, and a good spell can speak louder than a sermon. I'm Raven Nightingale, part healer, part hellraiser, keeper of the old ways and ghost stories alike. So pull up a chair and listen close. You never know what might be whispering in the dark. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Raven's Ramblings. I'm Raven. Hey. And today we're going to talk about something that kind of lives right on the edge of belief and instinct, logic and intuition. We're going to talk about signs and omens and that quiet feeling that something is trying to get your attention. Yeah, because we've all been there at some point. Because it really and truly, if you have been on this path for any amount of time, you have probably had a moment where something happened and you just kind of paused and thought, uh, was that meant for me? Yeah. So let's kind of start here. What are signs and omens? Really, really and truly. Because the word omen sounds very dramatic. I mean, we've all heard the word and seen the horror movies, and it sounds really bad. It sounds like something out of an old story, or ravens circling a battlefield, or storms rolling in before disaster. It's very the gods are angry kind of energy. But in modern witchcraft, signs and omens are usually much quieter than that. They are patterns and repetition and timing that feels just a little bit too perfect or a little too strange. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Don't even play like you don't. You know what I'm talking about. So it may look like something like seeing the same animal over and over again, or hearing the same message from completely different sources. Or, and this is my favorite one because I see this one all the time, numbers repeating themselves in a way that makes you stop and stare. I see 1111 every single day. Every day. Doesn't matter if it's night, morning, whatever, I'm going to see 1111. And on occasion, I see 333. Yeah. It can also be dreams that feel a little bit different than your normal ones. Not louder and not like flashing neon, like, hey, look at me, but just very persistent. Like something kind of tapping gently on your shoulder saying, hey, I'm right here. Just pay attention. Yeah. So the line between intuition and overthinking, and this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky because sadly, not everything is a sign. Sometimes it is just your brain doing what brains do and looking for patterns. Trying to make meaning out of randomness or filling in blanks because humans are really, really good at that and reading into things. And this is where a lot of people, especially newer witches, get stuck. And I don't mean that to sound derogatory because it's not just because you're a newer witch. It's also those of us that are just hopeful. Sometimes I have to pull myself back and go, probably not a sign. I'm just reading too much into that kind of thing. And then we start asking, was that a sign? Did that mean something? Am I missing something important? And suddenly everything feels loaded with meaning. And honestly, that is just damn exhausting. It really is. So, here is your grounding truth for this episode. Not everything is a message, and that is okay. Signs don't usually feel frantic. They don't feel like pressure. They feel very calm and very clear and almost obvious once you do see them. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about how signs actually show up in real life because it's rarely just one single thing that stands out. It's usually a pattern. You might think about something and then hear it mentioned three different times the same day. It's kind of like here's a good thing with patterns. You decide you're going to buy a certain type of car, right? You haven't bought it yet, but you've decided this is what I'm going to buy, and then you're going to start seeing it everywhere. That's not necessarily a sign, but that's the type of patterning I'm talking about. Um, so like I said, you might be thinking about something and then hear it mentioned several times in one day. You may be struggling with a decision, and suddenly conversations or posts or even random comments all point in the same direction for your decision. Or you may keep encountering the same symbol or animal or theme in different places. And it kind of builds on itself layer by layer until you get that little feeling kind of in your chest, that quiet inner voice that says, "Okay, that's weird," and then you start to question yourself. But that feeling, that is the part that you want to pay attention to. Okay, that little, this seems very purposeful. Pay attention to that. So my brain just went, "Woo!" Some important things to talk about signs for yourself. Your signs are not going to look like anyone else's signs because what means something to you might mean absolutely nothing to someone else, or even what means something good to you may mean tragedy to someone else, and vice versa. And for like me, a raven is a very powerful symbol for one person. For me, it is, but it's just a bird to somebody else. A song might hit you in the head like a ton of bricks, but someone else may not even notice it playing. Signs are very personal. They are your own personal language. And they are built from things like your own experiences, your memories, your beliefs, your own intuition. So instead of asking, what does this mean in general, try asking the question, what does this mean to me? And that is where the real answer is going to live. Because what means something to me may not mean anything to you. What means something to you may not mean shit to me. And that's okay. It's supposed to be that way. Just because somebody else feels like it's a sign does not mean it's a sign in your world. So, how do you know when something is actually a sign? There's a couple of simple ways to kind of look at it. A real sign usually has three things repetition, because it is going to show up more than once. All right, that's a big one for me. If I see something one time, I go, that was weird. If I don't keep seeing it, no, not a sign. Relevance. It connects to something that you are thinking or feeling or dealing with. Okay. So there's going to be a connection there. It's not totally random, right? And then resonance, because it feels meaningful without you having to force that feeling. If you're kind of, I don't know if that was or wasn't, then it probably wasn't. Like, but if you feel deep down that was your sign, yeah. Like if you have to stretch or overanalyze or kind of convince yourself, probably not a sign. But if it kind of lands on you and makes you kind of pause and go, huh, then that's kind of worth exploring. All right. Like I said earlier, omen, let's touch on that real quick. The word omen can sometimes bring up fear. It sounds very scary. It's been used in poetry and plays and stuff for millennia, and it's usually something bad. Like like you're being warned. And while traditionally omens could be warnings, that, I mean, everybody's read Shakespeare. But in modern practice, in most people's lives, they're not here to scare you. They're just here to inform you. Omens are here to give you awareness, to help you notice something that you might be overlooking. An, an omen is not about doom, it is about direction. So don't let that word scare you. Okay? Don't let it scare you. It's just a word. It's fine. So here is a permission slip for you. You do not have to go looking for signs. You do not have to ask for them constantly. You do not have to second guess every little thing that happens. You really don't. Because when something is meant to get your attention, it will. Without force, without stress, without you chasing it down like it owes you money. Your job is not to hunt for the meaning in everything. Your job is to stay open enough to notice when that meaning finally finds you. Okay? Don't stress about this. If it's meant to be, you're going to know deep down in your gut, in your little witchy gut, you know, you're going to know. So, if you take anything from this episode, let it be this: not everything is a sign, but some things quietly are. And the difference in those two things is not something you are going to find in a book or on a list or in someone else's interpretation. It is going to be something that you feel deep inside. So the next time that you are out in the mundane world and something makes you kind of pause and wonder, instead of instead of spiraling and instead of overthinking, just kind of sit with it. Sit with it for a few minutes and just let that really sink in and ask yourself, what is this trying to show me? Okay? And that's how you're going to find out. So, thank you for spending this time with me. And of course, please, please go. If you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed all of my episodes or any of my episodes, or maybe even none of my episodes, and you want to point out a weird podcast to some of your friends and go, listen to this crazy fool, send them over to ravensramblings.com. All my episodes are on there. I've got a blog happening. I've got a newsletter going out once a month. I've got some little Etsy store stuff that I'm making up and selling, little digital download kind of things. Yeah, come check it out. You can also follow me on all the social media. I've got TikTok and Instagram, and I'm just gonna start on Pinterest because why the hell not? Facebook, all the things, and of course here on Spotify and on YouTube. So don't forget, follow, like, share, and join me next time. Uh, and of course, stay curious, my friends. Stay grounded, but stay curious. And keep listening to all the quiet things. Bye.